Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Twilight Zone review. Today it is Season 5, Episode 13, Ring-a-Ding Girl, written by Earl Hamner Jr. and starring Maggie McNamara as Bunny Blake. And despite the strange title of this episode, it's actually a pretty good episode. Don't let the title scare you away. I just have a few issues with it, which I'll go through as I go into the episode more. So we start with our main character, Bunny Blake, and we find out that she is an actress and she's going to be going on a trip with another lady, and she's also going to take this ring with her that she sees visions into, and we'll get into that more as the episode goes. So it's a pretty basic setup for an episode. So after the opening narration, Bunny arrives and she sees her sister Hildy. It turns out she decided to take a detour and spend a day in the town she grew up in, and her sister's really excited to see her because it was a surprise. She didn't know that Bunny was coming, and we find out that this ring that Bunny wears was sent to her by the town as a gift. A lot of people contributed to buy it, and that Hildy picked it out for her. This would be very significant later on in the episode. And she also talks to Bud, who is Hildy's son, and he's a fun character, although he doesn't really fit big into the plot, and that's one of my issues with this episode. There's a lot of side characters that don't really serve any purpose other than to fill time, but they're all fine, I guess. So at this point, they're just talking, and everything seems okay, and Bunny once again sees a vision in her ring, and these are done okay. I thought they could have been a little bit more effective, but they do get us interested in the episode, and basically she sees a man in her ring, and she falls down. So they call the doctor, and the doctor comes to see her, and he says, "I think you're just tired, you need rest. You must be overworked out in Hollywood where you live." Bunny says she's okay, and it was just a performance for the doctor so she could see him. So that was kind of interesting. She's trying to flatter him, I guess. So Bunny at this point also says, "I had another motive. I called you over here so you could postpone the picnic," because I guess he's one of the people in charge. And she says, "Because I just want to spend an ordinary day at home with my sister. I don't want all this fanfare." But the doctor tells her he can't do that, and she can't get special treatment here like she might back where she's from, which I thought was a little bit harsh, but I guess it's okay. So once again, Bunny sees a man in the ring, and this time he's asking for help, and she leaves the room very upset. So the doctor talks to Hildy at this point, and he says, "I prescribed something for your sister," and he's a little bit concerned, naturally. So Bunny comes back in after he leaves and says she's okay. Hildy wants her to rest, but she just says she's going to go out no matter what. And I do have to say Bunny's a bit overwhelming in this scene, and it seems a little inconsistent with her character in other scenes, especially when we find out what's going on at the end of the episode, but I guess it works okay. So Bunny insists on leaving, and she has Bud drive her around town. So Bunny's riding with Bud as we go to the second part of the episode, and they're talking, and they go to talk to a Mr. Gentry, and basically this is someone that Bunny used to know. He's an elderly gentleman, and she wants him to unlock the auditorium and keep it open so people can go there for something she has planned. He tells her it's always open, and this scene is kind of pointless. Another character we don't really need. He's not a bad character, but we could have just been told that the auditorium was open without this. This felt like filler. Then Bunny goes to the TV station, and she appears on TV and tells the whole town, instead of going to this picnic today in town, you should come and see me. I'm going to give a special performance at the auditorium. Now, when Hildy finds out about this, she gets really upset, as people have been calling her saying, "We're confused. We don't know if we should go to the picnic or to see your sister." So Hildy confronts Bunny about this, and they argue a little bit. And this gets broken up basically because Bunny sees now the airplane that she was in the ring, and we're starting to kind of figure out what happens at this point, piece it together. And you can tell that Bunny is still upset by these visions. And Hildy finally comes around and says, "Okay, we'll go to see your performance instead of going to the picnic." Probably a good idea. So the weather gets really bad at this point. And the ring is showing the plane captain now, and he's saying there's going to be rough weather ahead. And at this point, Bunny hugs Hildy in an okay scene. and thanks her for being her sister and says goodbye and walks out into the rain and basically disappears. This is a decent effect. I thought it worked fine. So at this point, Hildy gets a phone call that there was a plane crash and that her sister was on it and that her sister is dead. But we find out that most of the people in the town were convinced to go to the auditorium for Bunny's performance. Therefore, they were not at the picnic and they were saved. So basically, Bunny's purpose for coming back there was to save the people of the town. And at this point, Hildy also finds the ring on the floor, which I guess is symbolic of her sister Bunny. So that's fine. It's a decent ending. But another problem I have with this episode, besides having a lot of stock characters, is that the character motivation seems a bit strange. It seems kind of unclear. It seems like the way the episode is written that Bunny is unaware at first of why she's come back to the town, and it seems like she realizes as she goes that she's there to save everyone, because by the end she clearly knows the way she hugs her sister, says goodbye. At least that's the way I interpreted it. So my question is, if she didn't realize this right away, did she subconsciously set this thing up at the auditorium? How did she know to do this? And it also seems like that once she did figure it out, wouldn't this be a risky plan? Who's to say that people would go there instead of the picnic? That seems like an awfully big chance to take, and it just seems like the episode didn't thoroughly think this out, and it's an important plot point. But the episode works as it is. I just wish there would have been a little more clarity there. I felt it was important. So overall, Ring-a-Ding Girl is a solid episode that does make a dramatic impact in the end. I just wish some of those things were cleaned up. So I give Ring-a-Ding Girl a 3 out of 5. Definitely worth a one-time watch at least. It's a solid episode. So a 3 out of 5 for Ring-a-Ding Girl, and as always, thanks for watching.